Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here to race number 18 of the second season of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, powered by the WRA. After today, we are halfway through the second season for these Cup drivers as they will cap off this race weekend before we're with them for the next 3 weeks, starting next week at the HLR circuit in Vancouver, British Columbia. J TwoTwo, his fifth career Winston Cup pole, his first of season two. He starts on the pole position. It hasn't been a good start for Jacob Tutu. The problem for him, 17th in points. He's yet to find victory lane after dropping 3 spots last week at Homestead. So he's looking for a bounce back result here today. J Bouvier comes in this race 7th in points from 11th in the standings the week before. 7-11, oh, thank heaven. Margaret Jacobs in row number 2. Margaret comes into this race 15th in the points, dropped 2 spots after last week's race at Homestead. And Drake Robertson, the highest of the rookie contenders. Drake is 27th in points, still looking for his first top 5 of the season. As there's the rest of your starting grid, which basically is the same as yesterday for pole day qualifying, as the 42 drivers roll off behind the pace car, ready for 114 laps of racing here this afternoon. Here are these said points coming in this race. Matty Crenshaw has a 10-point lead over Vanko Seaman, 16 over Betty Johnson, who is third in the standings. I'm going to do this so that way you don't have to worry about it. Ponzo Albanus, 26 points back, fourth in the standings. Ashley Reynolds, 29 points back in fifth. 45 back is Annie Thomas, who's sixth. Josephine Bouvier, 60 back in seventh. Ashlyn Wright, Hannah Bluejay, Jessica Miller, they are the top 10, 63, 71, and 73 points back of the points lead. Speaking of Ashley Reynolds, she was given a reprimand after turning Kyle Langland in the inside wall at the end of pole day qualifying yesterday, which both the 61 and the 88 teams had to be separated by Winston Cup officials in the garage area. So tempers boiling over between those two. Of course, Kyle Langland making his Winston Cup debut, whereas Ashley Reynolds, well, I don't know what the deal was with her. Green flags in the air. The Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 is underway. Everyone took the green flag, so nobody had any mechanical problems on the start of the race. Jacob TwoTwo running the same paint scheme that Kevin Harvick ran at this track in 2005 in real life. That car will lead the first lap of the race. There's Margaret Jacobs in the A. It's the Three Doors Down. That is the band album that she has, which is the red and black scheme on her Budweiser Chevrolet. And she's going to go to the race lead, bringing Michael Anderson with her. "114 laps means these drivers are going to have to make a pit stop in this race. Of course, the Truck Series drivers did not have a caution. It was a completely different story in yesterday's Busch Series event, which they had caution galore. But fuel was not a factor in either event. But Margaret Jacobs, the leader in that regard. TwoTwo in second. Michael Anderson third. They're second in points. Vanko Seaman. There's Ashley Reynolds. I don't know if Kyle Langland will do anything to the UPS Ford. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So would not be surprised about that ordeal. Remember, Vanko came in second in points. Where is the gal that he's trying to run down for the points lead? Matty Crenshaw running in 16th last time by in the Rent-A-Center Ford. And the caution is out. The caution is out for the first time today. I just saw somebody on pit road. Oh, Ben Tennyson involved, Tatum Wright, and it is Kyle Langland. In his Winston Cup debut, it's going to come to an early end. Oh, brother. Ben Tennyson involved. Tennyson came as race 25th in the points. He could not ill afford a poor finish. There's no right front fender on the U.S. Army machine, and he is out of this race. Caution's out for the first time today. Nobody is making pit stops, so let's jump back, look at a replay to find out what happened to Kyle Langland here in the early stages of the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. The number one rule of mile-and-a-half racing, do not go four wide, or this could be the consequence. And that's exactly what happened. There's Jacob Foster, H Bluejay, Kyle Langland, and Tatum Wright. These drivers went four wide. That was not a smart decision. Kyle Langland did pretty good in yesterday's Busch Series. Not going to be the case today. They almost went five wide, which was a complete death sentence. And I don't know if Kyle slid up or Tatum came down. Whatever the case, the two made contact. Luna Farmer gets a piece of it. And then there's the damage to the 0-1 of Ben Tennyson. Looks like Kevin Joseph got a piece of it in the Subway 16. And unfortunately, the black smoke erupted on the Amp Energy Ford. So Kyle Langland, who is making his Winston Cup debut, just got a rude introduction to the Winston Cup Series. So unfortunately, he's going to be done after 4 laps. Same with Ben Tennyson. Tatum Wright was on a bit of a good momentum the last couple of weeks, 16th in the points. I don't know how badly she'll be off the pace, along with Kevin Joseph, who's been having a miserable season, 33rd in the points. So caution's out for the first time today. Let's get to the restart here in Hotlanta. Green flag going to go in the air on lap number 10 of 114, very early in this race. Margaret Jacobs is the leader. J TwoTwo is second. Michael Anderson is third. Betty Johnson fourth, with Ashlyn Wright in fifth. She is the highest of the rookie drivers. Right behind her, the gal, that's second highest, Lucy Myers. She is sixth. Ben Erickson seventh. Ashley Reynolds eighth. Vanco Seaman ninth. Timmy Turner completes the top 10. Drivers out after that incident, just the two, Kyle Langland and Ben Tennyson. So what a shame for those drivers. Looks like Luke Knight came to pit road along with Carmen Alejandro. So we did have some drivers at the back of the field that want to make some adjustments and also top off the fuel tank. They came to pit road on that first yellow, as we have 40 drivers on track and on the lead lap. Don't know how bad the 0 will be off the pace, but we'll have to wait and see. Ace car going to go back in the pits. And we are back to green here at Atlanta. Very early in this race to be doing pit strategy, I would say. No lap cars means we'll have had a single file restart. Joseph, Luke Knight, and Tatum Wright all came to pit road. So did Carmen Alejandro. So Carmen was trying to play some pit strategy. And for those asking, my studio engineer back in our World Racing Association studios, as Ashlyn Wright's going to go to the lead. Our studio engineer back in our WRA studios is Caleb Hobbs. Ashlyn Wright, who has only failed to qualify for 2 races, she comes in this race 8th in the points. She is the highest of the rookies in the points deal. Having a very good rookie year going along for her. Like I said, she has not fallen out of the top 35 since she got back in it not that long ago. Oh, got a wreck. We got a crush on the back straightaway. Ben Air. Oh, big one. This is the big one in Atlanta. Oh, my God. That's a lot of drivers. Oh, my God. That's over half the field. Riley Anderson, Monica Towns, Brad Lewis, Beta, Erickson. Caution is no doubtably out. Luna Farmer. Jerry Harvick, Tatum Wright, Riley Anderson, Schweetz, Smart, Myers, Horton, Foster, Beta, Betty Johnson, Ponzo Albanus, Luna Farmer, Barrett, Drake Robertson. Oh, Annie Crenshaw got wrecked by Lucy Myers. Annie Thomas, Todd Montgomery, Carmen Alejandro, Brad Lewis, Kevin Joseph. I'm just naming off drivers involved in this. Margaret Jacobs, Bora Park, Hannah Bluejay, Ashley Reynolds, Luke Knight. Who wasn't involved? Good night. That has got to be our biggest wreck of the season. Caution's out for the second time today. We're going to a red flag. I can tell you that for sure. Let's jump back, look at a replay. The big one strikes here in Georgia. Let's see if we can unravel this little mess. Looks like it's going to start with Riley Anderson and Ben Erickson. Looks like another 4-wide situation, I can guarantee you that. And like I said, I don't know if the 13 came up or the 6 came down. No matter what, Betty Johnson got turned. Brady Columbus got a piece of it. How did Senior Sean get through that? Wow. And just nowhere for all these drivers to go. Good night. The track just became blocked. Good Lord. Look at that. Well, Sean wanted to wreck the field. Damn, he got more than what he bargained for. That's at least over half the field, if not 30 cars piled up in turn 3. Holy cow. Normally, you would be seeing this at Talladega, not Atlanta Motor Speedway, for goodness sakes. Oh, wait. Okay, spectator. Look at this. Jeez Louise. Betty Johnson went upside down. There's Carmen Alejandro. Ben Erickson went upside down. Look at that. That is like well over 30 cars in that wreck in turn 3. No wonder why the red flag had to be displayed. Holy hell. And this is really going to hurt a lot of drivers in the points. Those who really did not need to afford this. What a massive accident we've had. And this is only on lap number 14. So the caution's out, the second of the day. The big one strikes here at Atlanta. I don't know how many drivers are going to be out of the race after this, but we're going to have to take it to the restart here at Atlanta. Well, we're going to have a tiny field, and one little problem. We're not even 20 laps into the race as the green flag's going to come back out on lap number 19 of 114. Ashley Wright, the leader, Jacob TwoTwo in second. The top 2 in the championship did escape through that, got through the big one. Seaman in third, Crenshaw fourth. Jay Green 5th, Josephine Bouvier 6th, Michael Anderson 7th, Timmy Turner, Sean Art, Brady Columbus will complete the top 10. Lane Aurora 11th, 12th is Ashley Reynolds, 13th Luke Knight, Hannah Bluejay 14th, Carmen Alejandro 15th, 16th Annie Thomas, 17th Margaret Jacobs, Todd Montgomery is 18th, Lucy Myers is in 19th. Drivers out, and there are a lot of them. Riley Anderson, Bora Park, Kevin Joseph, Brad Lewis, Annie Crenshaw, Jerry Harvick, Betty Johnson, Luna Farmer, Ponzo Albanus, Betty Barrett, Drake Robertson, Ben Erickson. Let's see. Liliana Beta, Ashley Horton, Samantha Grainger, Cody Smart, Jacob Foster, Monica Towns, Vanellope Von Schweetz, as we're back to green here at Atlanta. Jessica Miller, Tatum Wright, all out of the race. They joined Kyle Langland and Ben Tennyson back behind the wall. We had 40 drivers in this race. Let's see. From 13th on down, that is a total. I would like to take a guess and say that's at least 30 cars involved. Lot of drivers out of this race as a result of that. Well, Sean got his carnage, and that's a lot of carnage. It's like the fours in and out of the pit lane. That's Lucy Myers. A lot of damage on the Lucas Oil Chevrolet. It looks like 12 drivers that were not involved all got through it. Carmen Alejandro, Todd Montgomery, Margaret Jacobs has come to pit road, I think, to repair damage. So she's doing the smart thing. She'll go a lap down. So these 12 drivers, Annie Thomas, Hannah Bluejay, I think this is a penalty for these drivers that had to be held by the pace car. So they're going to go a lap down as a result. So it looks like we're going to be down to 12 drivers on the lead lap. Boy. That's definitely a huge wreck there. It looks like Lucy Myers is going in and out of the pit lane. Boy, well, that's a lot of drivers. And like I said, we had over 100 laps to go. Oh, by the way. Boy, a lot of drivers involved, and this is going to have major consequences in terms of the championship is concerned. And Atlanta just played its part in a major point shakeup. We're guaranteed a major point shakeup. Oh, Todd Montgomery just wrecked Ashley Wright out of the lead. Caution is out. Third caution of the day as they were trying to lap the 77, just pulled up right in front of Ashlyn Wright. And the caution is out again. I just don't get it. How the trucks in Busch did not have this problem. We just had a 30 car wreck. I'm just completely dumbfounded by this. Caution's out for the third time today. Let's jump back, look at a replay to see what happened to the 77. Well, Todd Montgomery's just been asked to see the officials in the big red truck. See, Ashlyn Wright was trying to go around the outside, and the 77 just LePage, the Brian Meat Chevrolet, out of Michael Waltrip Racing. I bet you Ashlyn Wright is going to be fuming after this one. And there's probably some good significant damage on the 00, and she was leading the race, so I seriously doubt the officials are going to be pleased about this. And the caution is out for the third time today. Let's get to the restart here in Atlanta. I bet you if I was going to play the radio communications of the 00, I probably would have the sensor button ready, but we're going to go back to green on lap 31 of 114, still early in this race, and we've already had 3 cautions already, and we've already taken out over half this field. Vanco Seaman is the leader, Brady Columbus second, third is Matty Crenshaw, fourth is Jay Green, fifth is Michael Anderson, sixth Timmy Turner, as the 4 car doesn't, in the words of Travis Crampton, fix your damage. Jacob TwoTwo is 7th, Josephine Bouvier 8th, 9th, Ashley Reynolds, 10th is Senor Sean, Elaine Aurora, Luke Knight, and Ashlyn Wright now are the 13 drivers on the lead lap. And I bet the one finger salute came out of the 00 to the 77 as she went by. So Ashlyn Wright already expressing her anger towards lap cars. So we're back to green. Excuse me, sorry for blowing my nose. I just don't get it, to be honest with you. Why these drivers are racing this aggressive this early in the race when we have 114 laps of let's be patient for the love of Pete. Last week, they did a good job being patient at Homestead, and whatever they did at Homestead, they left their brains at the fucking barn, if you ask me. It's really annoying as a broadcaster like myself that lap cars have to get in the way and really just ruin a driver's race. It just really annoys the hell out of me. I mean, we had this happen in Toronto last season. We've had it happen here today. As Brady Columbus is leading this race. I feel like I'm the only broadcaster who gets annoyed of what just happened just a moment ago. But Brady Columbus leading this race over Vinko Seaman, Jacob TwoTwo, Michael Anderson, Jay Green. That is your top five. As I think the four just came to pit road again. Yes is the answer. Even though the four is going to finish 19th, it really doesn't matter. The bad thing for Vanko Seaman, the gal he's trying to run down for the points lead was also got through the big wreck, Matty Crenshaw. And looking at all these DNFs, with the exception of Ashlyn Wright, Matty Crenshaw, Vanko Seaman, I don't know who's going to be third in points leaving today. I really don't know. And a lot of drivers, as I say, hola de Senor Sean, a lot of drivers that came in running very well in the points did not need something like this to happen to them. And unfortunately, we have just gotten a major, major point shakeup. Of course, Kyle Langland, Ben Tennyson, they were involved in our first caution. And then you can definitely say from 13th all the way down to 40th, which if you do the math, that's nearly 30 cars that got swept up in the big one. Which means the good news is Sean Art wrecked the field. The bad news is Sean got more than what he bargained for. Will you cut that out? And all those drivers that were out of the race, majority of them were in the top 10 of the points. Boy, this is really going to be an ugly shakeup to the points. And then our most recent caution, Todd Montgomery LePaging Ashlyn Wright, which in the words of Cody would be female abuse. And we're already going to have a lot of drivers that will fail to finish. Right now we have 19 of the 42 starters still in this race, 12 of them on the lead lap once Luke Knight goes a lap down. Everyone else out of the race. And it's the second day in a row. Yesterday, Jesse Art was involved in a big wreck. Senor Sean got through the big wreck today. I can definitely say Sean is definitely happy he got his carnage, but he got way more than what he bargained for. And with Sean, who comes in this race 22nd in points with all those DNFs, is Sean going to be in the top 15 leaving today? Is Sean going to be in the top 15 the points leaving today? With all of those DNFs? Good grief. And this is good for a number of drivers that were struggling in the points. Like, as I look here, trying to look and see if there's anybody that's still in the race. Timmy Turner is a primary example. He's running 7th. And here's the thing. He comes in this race at critical 35th in the standings originally. And with a lot of drivers ahead of him in points that have already ran into trouble. Boy, Timmy Turner's about to climb out of the basement of the danger zone of the points. He's right now running in 7th. I know Annie Thomas is still going. I don't know where is this going to situate her. Of course, she's like the last car that already had damage repaired in 18th. Carmen Alejandro, 16th. I don't know how in the world Carmen Alejandro didn't get a whole lot of damage. H Bluejay, Hannah Bluejay's running in 15th, 2 laps down, but it could have been so much worse for Hannah Bluejay. She could have been probably been out of the race in like 39th. But at least she's still in this race. You got to take it by a grain of salt. And with how many cars we have left on the lead lap, I really don't think we're going to have as they're about to lap Todd Montgomery again and Annie Thomas. Remember, Todd Montgomery's been asked to see the officials in the big red truck when this is all said and done. And of course, the 4 car is just being a graceful back marker because she's been going in and out of the pit lane. Because the team don't want to, in the words of Travis Crampton, fix your car or fix your damage. And now where is Brady Columbus and Jacob TwoTwo going to go? I know Annie Thomas is trying to get out of the way. It looks like she's going to let the leaders go. They're about to put Luke Knight a lap down as Lucy Myers is back out on the track, but she's going to go in and out of the pit lane. Looks like they did not fix the damage on the car. Mako Seaman. Langland and Tennyson been checked and released from the medical center before that big wreck. And of course, Jacob Foster was trying to get himself closer to that 35th in the standings. That's not going to happen with him finishing in 36. That's a lot of cars out of the race. That might have just, as Jacob TwoTwo almost got into Brady Columbus. I was about to get ready to say before that happened, that's probably our biggest wreck of the season, if I'm not mistaken. If not our biggest wreck, it's probably going to be our biggest wreck of the weekend, and also for this, also our biggest wreck of the season between the 3 series. You hate that for some of these go-or-go homers that got taken out in that big wreck through no fault of their own, like Bora Park. What a shame for her. Was trying to do better in her first 2 stars. I mean, 21st isn't terrible, but she would have liked to have had a much better finish than that. So I bet you she'll probably be disappointed. Jacob Foster, with him DNFing, that's not going to do his hopes of getting closer and closer to the top 35 any favors. Tough break for Vanellope von Schweetz in her debut. Same with Kyle Langland. I would not, however, be surprised if Ashley Reynolds gets a fine coming out of this weekend. Because I understand the 61's an underfunded team, but and it's probably for that pole day qualifying incident yesterday is why I say I wouldn't be surprised if she gets a fine. Has nothing to do with today's race. It has to do with what happened yesterday. And the only go-or-go homer who has not been involved in a wreck, of course, Carmen Alejandro's 2 laps down. Is Brady Columbus who's leading this race. As we're past the halfway point of the event, of course, Sean and I were supposed to do the NBA game, but because he got a phone call from the D1 commissioner, we're going to do it immediately. By the time you're watching this, it's already been done. We're going to do it after after I record this race, which you're watching it right now. As we're past the halfway point of this race, we also look at the, of course, Ashlyn Wright. Looks like the damage has not affected the 00. They'll probably just pull the fender out, make sure everything is okay. Remember, Ashlyn Wright was the rookie points leader. So we have an interesting scenario. I just want to point this out. The top 2 in the championship got through the big wreck. And the top 2 in the Rookie of the Year standings coming in this race also got through the big wreck. Coincidence? I think not. And I have a feeling Jay Green's going to be in the top 10 of the points leaving today. Will you cut that out, Sean? Will you cut that out? And of course, speaking of Senor Sean, he's running in 10th. As we got a quacking duck and Lucy Myers still in the pit lane. There's Carmen Alejandro. It's like the 8 car is not badly damaged. They had to fix the left side of the car. Of course, they didn't do that correctly the first time. Annie Thomas, Todd Montgomery, Lucy Myers just going in and out of the pit lane, just trying to get something going on. Senor Sean and Ashley Reynolds back here in 10th and 11th. There's Timmy Turner running in 9th. Timmy's already had a rough season. Now, the reason Timmy is retiring has nothing to do with this season. I mean, he's up there in age. He's ran a lot of races in his career. Since he joined the Blue Hedgehog TV group in 2010. And you figure that he's had a great career. Former Daytona 500 champion in 2016. I think he feels like he wants somebody to take over the Tide Ride who deserves it more, which I can understand that, knowing that he would do that. I mean, Turner's still going to be running a part-time schedule. He says, he loves racing with these drivers. He's going to be sad that, he's not going to do it full-time anymore, but, at least we understand why he's doing this for a reason. So who will be replacing him is going to be a mystery. As we look at Ashlyn Wright and J TwoTwo. Ashlyn Wright's about to take the lead from J TwoTwo, believe it or not. Ashlyn Wright, a rookie. Even though we've seen her a lot on the channel, but Ashlyn Wright doing very well for her rookie year as far as that's concerned. J TwoTwo, the final ever Monster Energy Series champion. Even though Toronto did lose the championship in the World Series, one thing that still has not changed. At least we can all agree on one thing and one thing only. Canada still has a championship they won, and it's with J TwoTwo, as we got crickets in the booth. And for Jacob TwoTwo, when he won that championship in 2023, it not just changed his life, it has revolted his career in a big way. He will still be, in my honest opinion, people can disagree with me all you want to, Jacob TwoTwo will still go down in history as more than likely, besides Betty Barrett, the greatest male Canadian driver of all time. And remember, he's done this since 2010. Keep that in mind. And Jacob went, oh, we hit that number, by the way. But I was going to say, Jacob TwoTwo, for a driver who's been doing this in the career, is, by the way, it looks like Ashlyn Wright might be on fresher tires because she might have pitted. But the question is she good to go the rest of the way? That's the big problem. It's probably the 4 car on pit road is why the chat's flashing. Yep, it is. If I'm Lucy Myers, I just park the car right about now because you going in and out of the pit lane, you're not doing yourself any favors with these drivers that are still battling for the race lead, if not the battle for the win, in my honest opinion. And I remember when Jacob won the championship, and after I signed off, I went down to interview him. You can tell the emotions, the tears coming down his eyes, being there with his family that weekend. And the question I brought up to Jacob when we had when we were doing the championship ceremonies with after we did the trophy presentation, I asked Jacob, "You've waited this long to win a championship. Has it sunk in?" He said, "I'm still trying to get over the fact that we've won this championship, and Full Throttle's been with him throughout his entire journey, besides Rockstar Energy. His team owner, which we're actually going to be seeing Lauren Ekstrom next week at the HLR circuit. Jacob said, when Lauren Ekstrom, after she got done chewing Betty Barrett out, went over to me and said, I cannot believe you brought home a championship for Australian Motorsports. And, being there watching Lauren and Jacob hoisted the championship, as we're going to have pit stops here. When the two got to hold that Monster Energy title up while having a photo together. It was probably the biggest day of Jacob TwoTwo's career. Hoisting that Monster Energy Series championship, saying, we have done it. And there's never been a driver, a team owner, a fan that is so happy to see Jacob TwoTwo win, in my honest opinion, the hardest championship of what was then the PCSRA, now the WRA. And that's why Jacob TwoTwo will forever be a Monster Energy champion. Just like Timmy Turner will forever be a Daytona 500 champion, along with Matty Crenshaw and a number of other drivers that have won the biggest race of the year. And I know Timmy Turner wants to run his final Foster Series season and try to become a 2-time Daytona 500 champion. And Matty Crenshaw would like to also add her name to the books of being a 2-time Daytona 500 champion as well. As Ashlyn Wright still on still in the race. I bet you she came to pit road, but I don't think she's going to make it the rest of the way. So she's going to probably have to pit. And I think Timmy Turner will also have to pit before too long. Well, as soon as I said that, he already pitted. And here comes Ashlyn Wright. So this will be their final stop. So this will definitely cycle the lead back over. More than likely going to be Brady Columbus. There is the 59. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the World Racing Association for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, rebroadcast, retransmitted, or any other disseminations or the use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the World Racing Association is prohibited. Blue Hedgehog TV, the World Racing Association, want to thank you fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Excuse me. Looks like Bouvier's now in second. J Green, Jacob TwoTwo, Matty Crenshaw, Michael Anderson, Vanko Seaman, Ashlyn Wright, Sean Ard, Ashley Reynolds. That is your top 10. Turner and Aurora, the last cars on the lead lap. Everybody, as we saw, 12 drivers on the lead lap, 19 still in this race. And then everybody else will not reach the conclusion of this 3-caution wreck fest that we've had here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And 2 of the 3 cautions that we've had in this race today have all been resulted in drivers going 4 wide, which was a complete disaster. The thing, caution. Speaking of cautions, our 4th caution of the day, and that is not what Brady Columbus wanted to see. Looks like we've had a wreck. And it's Sean. Ooh, he almost got hit by Luke Knight. That is not what Brady Columbus wanted to see, because this just changed the complexion of this race. 4th caution of the day is out with 30 laps of racing to go. Let's jump back, look at a replay to see what happened. Well, I can tell you this: I don't think the 7's going to be happy with the 8, as Margaret Jacobs just slid up. Unfortunately, takes Sean Ard out of this and takes the 8 and the 7 into the wall. That is going to That's going to be a meeting in the big red truck for the 8 car. As Senor's going to slightly tap the right front fender of his Jim Beam Chevrolet. So Senor Sean is going to be visibly angry at Margaret Jacobs. Jacobs is 2 laps down, for God's sakes, and Sean was on the lead lap. So I seriously doubt the driver from Texas is going to be happy about this. As the cautions out, our 4th of the day. Let's jump to the restart here at Atlanta. Going to go back to green on lap number 88 of 114. Sean did get his damage fix, and he is still on the lead lap. Margaret Jacobs got held the lap for causing that last incident, but Sean is going to still be on the lead lap. Nevertheless, it'll be Columbus, Bouvier, Green, Crenshaw, Matty Crenshaw to be more specific, TwoTwo, Seaman, Anderson, Wright, Ashlyn Wright to be more specific, Turner and Reynolds, the top 10, Aurora and Ard, 11th and 12th. Everybody else is a lap down. And of course, I'll let Sean say his line on the spins, the 2 spins we just had. You can probably put it in either in my DM or in the president's chat. And that caution, as I said, was the last thing that Brady Columbus wanted to see, because that, like I said, has changed the complexion of this race. As we're back to green here at Atlanta. Everybody can make it the rest of the way, by the way. Sean had to get new tires and top off the fuel tank after the spin. Also did a little bit of repair on his car, but the damage is not going to be significant to where he'll be off the pace for the rest of this race. And like I said, the worst that Sean Ard can finish will definitely be like, if he falls out of the race, would be 19th. As Josephine Bouvier goes by Brady Columbus, I believe Brady Columbus has led the most laps in this race. All those drivers that were involved in our second caution of the race all have been checked and released from the medical center. That is also the second time today we've had a lap car pull up in front of a lead lap car and take them into the wall. Todd Montgomery did that to Ashlyn Wright earlier in this race. Now Margaret Jacobs did that to Senor Sean, which I bet you if I would have played the radio communications of Sean Ard, I would have the censor button ready to go. And that was a nice green flag run for a change before that yellow flag reared its ugly head. And look at who this helped, Matty Crenshaw. And remember, she comes in this race as your points leader. And remember, she jumped ahead of Vinko Seaman, who was ahead of her before that cycle of pit stops that also played its part in the running order. Because Matty Crenshaw was behind Seaman before those pit stops took place. So the 21 team, when it mattered the most, crunch time on the pit stops, that helped her get ahead of the Napa Chevrolet. As Sean is now a lap down, somebody came to pit road. I think it was Jacob TwoTwo. Yes, it was. Looks like Jacob had a tire going down. That's a tough break for Jacob. The worst he can finish would be 12th. Oh, and I realized car 7's running in 11th. So, in the words of Sean, 7-11, oh, thank heaven. And what has been an attrition-filled race here today. And next week we begin 3 wildcard events that really could cause some ugliness in the point standings. As next week we go road course racing. We ran Champs-Élysées, we ran Sonoma. Next week we're heading to Canada at the HLR circuit, just the Cup drivers as they begin their Rocky Mountain West Coast tour. And if you didn't tune into the Busch race, we were originally going to go to Albuquerque. Instead, we're going to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, where Senor Sean's a former winner at Rio in the Red Bull GT series, believe it or not. And all three races, all Cup drivers only. No trucks, no Busch, just the Cup drivers. We'll have pole day. We'll have a Gorgo Homer qualifying race on Friday at. We'll do 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific as Cody's back. We'll have pole day qualifying Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. And then next Sunday, we're going road course racing at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. And as I said, only the Cup drivers that weekend. And then the following week, we go to Buffalo Downs. That could be a wild card race, I can tell you that for certainty. And then, as I said, we'll go to Rio de Janeiro instead of Albuquerque because the Albuquerque track would not load on my game. So we will go to Rio de Janeiro. And as I said, it will be just the Cup drivers. There will be an off week in between Buffalo Downs and Rio. And then there'll be an off week between Rio and Watkins Glen when the trucks and Busch will join back up with the Cup drivers for some road course racing. So we got road course action 2 of the next 4 weeks. So that would be something we're definitely looking forward to. And as I said, will only be the Cup drivers for those races. I bet you J TwoTwo will. Jacob's running in 13th. J TwoTwo looked like he had a car to possibly win today. Not going to be the case, but I bet you he's going to be amped up for his home race. I know that Betty Barrett wants to redeem herself in front of her home crowd. So she's got those two, I would bet, other than Timmy Turner, I bet would be the favorites at the HLR circuit because, like I said, that is a road course with a lot of twists and turns and some straightaways, especially that long back straightaway where they're going to go in excess of 200 miles an hour top speed, fastest part of the circuit, before they have to go on the breaks down the first gear. And we have not been at the HLR circuit since 2012, believe it or not. And with only the Cup drivers there and majority of the field who've never raced there before, it could be unpredictable. Fuel mileage definitely going to play a factor in that race. Tires are going to be a factor in that race. That's going to be something fun we're going to have. And like I said, only the Cup drivers will be going there. And the only time I've seen the HLR circuit on someone's channel would be sign-ons. It'd be cool to have it on my channel. It's called Hot Lap. I think it's called Hot Lap Raceway Circuit, but for shorter terms, it will be called the HLR Circuit. And I'm using the sign-on version of the HLR Circuit for anyone asking. And look who popped up in the second. Where did Timmy Turner come from? Brought Venko Seaman up here. As I believe Maddie Crenshaw got held up. Yes, she did. But it's not going to change the outcome of the results because Matty Crenshaw, what was actually the gap between those two entering this race? 10 points. It will still be Matty Crenshaw who will still have the points lead. Maybe losing a point, but you got to factor in who led a lap and all that. I know Brady Columbus led the most laps in this race. If we didn't have that big wreck, we could have had a interesting strategy on fuel mileage, but unfortunately, because of that big wreck, we'll in the words of, most people in the community, we'll never know. Forgot to put a reminder out for these drivers. I'll do that right now. That's my fault for not having that ready to go, but that's all right. Timmy Turner looking for his first win on the season. Same for Bouvier, same with Seaman. So it looks like a lot of these drivers have not been to victory lane this season. And they will look to try to go to victory lane for the first time or for the second time of the year. As Turner got a bonus point for leading the lap. That's a well-needed bonus point for a driver who's 35th in the standings. And Timmy Turner love to get his first win, but we got traffic up ahead. That's going to play a factor in who's going to win this race. We're down to 4 to go in this race. And Matty Crenshaw has brought herself up into this mix. Of course, she and Vanco Seaman are fighting for the points lead. Remember, with no playoffs, you got to be consistent in all 36 races. Down to 3 to go here in Atlanta. Want to say a big thank you to the people of Atlanta Motor Speedway for being hospitable to all of us here this weekend. And I cannot wait for Canada next week. First of 2 trips, by the way, to Canada, because later in the season, we'll be going to Ricky Raceway. As we are down to 2 laps of racing to go. Hopefully, we do not have fuel mileage that will play its part at the end of this race, but something tells me it will. As we're coming to the white flag here at Atlanta, 1 more lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. That's the flag Josephine Bouvier and the leaders have been waiting to see for quite a while since we got going. Josephine Bouvier coming down the back straightaway for the final time. Bouvier came into this race 7th in points, 4 spots gained last week. And she's going to come off turn 4, and Josephine Bouvier will win at Atlanta Motor Speedway, taking the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. Bouvier had not been to victory lane since last season at Martinsville. It will be her second Winston Cup Series win, her first on the season. Standings are now official. Well needed run for Timmy Turner. A struggling season for him, 35th. That is definitely what the doctor orders. He will come home in second. The top two in the championship, Matty Crenshaw, Vanko Seaman, they'll still be 1-2 in the points, leaving today after a solid third and fourth place result. Michael Anderson will get fifth. Great run for Brady Columbus, the only Gorga homer that wasn't involved in a wreck. She will end up in sixth. Ashlyn Wright, what could have been a good day for Ashlyn Wright of getting her first career Winston Cup win, got shattered by somebody who really should have gotten out of the way quicker and given her a little bit more room. Nevertheless, she'll come home in seventh. Jay Green eighth, so Ashlyn Wright will still have the rookie points lead over Jay Green heading into next week at the HLR circuit. Ashley Reynolds will get ninth, and Elena Aurora will complete the top 10. Senor Sean will finish in 11th place. J TwoTwo ran out of fuel, had an unscheduled pit stop, fell a lap down in 12th. And then from Luke Knight all the way down the rest of the field, they were involved in our three cautions we had here today. Luke Knight got 13th. Hannah Bluejay, Carmen Alejandro, top 15 run for her. Margaret Jacobs, Todd Montgomery, both of those drivers are going to be going straight to the big red truck. We'll have to see what kind of punishment's going to come to those two. Don't forget, Ashley Reynolds already got a reprimand. Do not be surprised Tuesday afternoon. She gets a fine for what she did to Kyle Langland in pole day qualifying yesterday, which I can tell you that's probably not going to get appealed. I can tell you that for certainty. And Annie Thomas, step break for her, got involved in that big wreck. Same with Lucy Myers. As you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, but both of those girls still finished the race in 18th and 19th. Everyone else did not reach the conclusion of this race. Riley Anderson, Bora Park, Kevin Joseph, Brad Lewis, Annie Crenshaw, Jerry Harvick, Betty Johnson, Luna Farmer, Ponzo Albanus, Betty Barrett, Drake Robertson, Ben Erickson, Liliana Beta, Ashley Horton, Samantha Grainger, Cody Smart, Jacob Foster, Monica Towns, Vanellope Von Schweetz, Jessica Miller, Tatum Wright, all involved in that second caution that took all those drivers out of the race. They end up joining Kyle Langland and Ben Tennyson, who went behind the wall after being involved in the first caution of the event. So we've worked three cautions. Over half the field did not reach the conclusion of this race. And what was a wreck fest, but a clean finish nevertheless here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to become part of the World Racing Association crew today. We've shown your full finish results, your point standings that is going to get a major shaking up is down in the description as a result of what in the world just happened. Next week, we're at the HLR circuit, just the Cup drivers. We'll have the qualifying race on Friday, pole day qualifying on Saturday, race on Sunday from the HLR circuit. And now for our studio engineer, that is Caleb Hobbs. I'm J DeVos. Thank you for joining me and saying good night from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We congratulate Josephine Bouvier on our second career win in the Winston Cup Series and first of this season. Coming up next, we'll rejoin the Infinity Network Sports Studios programming already in progress. We'll talk to you next week from British Columbia. You've been watching the World Racing Association's Multimedia Network.